This is the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
It is the East Idaho Prepcast, IdahoSports.com, District 5, District 6, week in, week out. Brandon Baney, Sean Kane, what's up?
I do have some big news. If you're ready.
I'm
just joking. It's not that big. We're resurfacing the tennis courts at Century, so stay tuned. I will probably have to introduce it with some pictures because it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, Sean, of course, is not only our East Idaho expert, but teacher and head tennis coach at Century High School in Pocatello. And I know you've been working on this for years, trying to get this bad boy resurfaced. So,
it's an ongoing process with a lot of moving parts and different things that happen. I think what gets lost sometimes is there's three fairly large schools in one district, and so if you do something, it's like trying to do it three times sometimes, you know what I mean? So it's not cheap, but yeah, it's nice. It's a lot of support from the community and places like that, and a local company did it out of Blackfoot, so it's going to be really cool at the end of the day because it's going to be a lot of local work that got it done, and that's who will be using it as a community, and that's the end of the day. That's what we want to have in Pocatello's areas, that we can be proud of as a community. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the kids. I won't say it's me. It's a lot of other people that do things, do my bidding.
Wow, do my bidding. I think that's our podcast title this week.
I mean, it's Halloween, right? Halloween month, bidding.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest. We got so much postseason stuff to talk about. I did not think we'd be leading out the show with a spring sports conversation here, Sean.
I don't know. You know how my mind works. I'm here. You got me. What else you want?
Hey, that's what makes the East Idaho Prepcast so great. You never know what direction the show's going to go in. So buckle up and strap in, folks. We got a big one today with all sorts of postseason events to talk about. The first championships of the 2023-24 school year in the books. State golf was held up north in Lewiston and Moscow last week. Sean, I know you'll be really surprised to hear this, but teams from the Treasure Valley swept everything. Individual titles, team titles over there in the Banana Belt. They got it done.
Yeah. Where the weather's a little nicer, they did a little better. I mean, I don't want to say anything, but no, yeah, it's kind of typically how it pans out. We always in East Idaho have some good golfers, and we kind of usually see a little more of the higher final standings coming from the smaller schools than we do the big schools, which again, they'll play later in the spring. But still some good showings from some teams.
Yeah, we did want to highlight the top placers from each competition. 5A boys, Highland as a team finishes tied for 7th with Lake City. The highest individual on the 5A boys side was Justin Anderson from Thunder Ridge. I believe he was the district champion as well. I could be misremembering that.
It was a playoff, right? Yeah,
that's right.
Tied. I can't remember who won either, but yeah, he was part of it.
I know that's their number one golfer. He finished tied for 9th. He shot 2 over par, 72 on Friday, 74 on Saturday. On the girls' side, Highland takes 7th, all to their own. So congrats to the Lady Rams there. Highest individual was from Highland, taking 19th overall, Becca Mon. So congratulations, Becca. 4A tournament, Sean. Highest placer was Skyline. They took 4th. Blackfoot took 5th, only 2 strokes behind Skyline in the boys competition. So Skyline not only won district, but they were the highest placing team from East Idaho over there at state. The top individual from East Idaho came from Shelley. Henry Hyam took 8th place. So congratulations. Cy Callister from Blackfoot was 9th. So way to go.
Yeah, nice job. Henry Hiram plays football, I believe, too, right?
Yeah, so we talked about this last year where Nate Nelson was the quarterback for Shelley, and he Earlier in the day had won the district golf championship, and then later that night had scored the game-winning touchdown against Pocatello with 10 seconds left to those. And I think last year it was 4 of the 5 golfers also played football for Shelley. I think it's something similar this year.
Yeah. So just a great job by those golfers. And I love it when people are multi-sport athletes. So that's always a big thing for me. So congratulations to them, because that's not easy to do by any means.
Yeah, I am. I'm here for it. No doubt. Speaking of Shelley, the Shelley girls were the highest placing team from East Idaho at state. They took 6th overall, and it was Shelley's Mallory Hyam finishing as the top individual from East Idaho, also taking 8th. So we had Henry Hyam take 8th on the boys' side from Shelley. Mallory Hyam takes 8th on the girls' side from Shelley as well.
Well, there you go. Family affair.
Must run in the family.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So that's congrats to all of our golfers that went up north and competed over the past week. Let's dive into district soccer, Sean. Now, district volleyball will start this upcoming weekend. I'll be honest, I don't have all the brackets filled out yet. I'm still waiting to see where certain teams finish. There's still some regular season matches to be played. So we'll go more into volleyball next week on the show. But I did want to see what's going on with district soccer. Lots of state tournament berths have been clinched. If you're watching this on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel or Facebook page, I'm going to share my screen, put the brackets up on the screen. You'll be able to see them. Maybe make your player full size so it's a little easier to read. If you're listening to this podcast at IdahoSports.com or wherever you download your podcasts, no worries. You can follow along. We've got all the district brackets on the homepage at IdahoSports.com, and you can follow along that way. Let's start with the very first team that clinched a spot to state, Sean. That would be the Marsh Valley girls. They won on Saturday over American Falls in the 3A District 5 championship on penalty kicks. So it was tied 1-1. Went to overtime. Nobody scored. Double overtime. Nobody scored. Marsh Valley wins 3-1 on PKs. Congratulations to the Eagles. They're headed to state. American Falls battled back to defeat Snake River 3-0 to take second. And now American Falls will take on the third place team from District 4. That will be either Buell or Bliss. Either way, I think American Falls is in a good spot to also advance to state.
Yeah, and we kind of thought it would come down to Marsh Valley, American Falls, and Marsh Valley, it came down to the wire to get that district championship and their place at state. And American Falls has been able to make it a few times. Just one more game and they're going to be there, and I like their chances going forward.
I think both Marsh Valley and American Falls can represent East Idaho very well over at state. Big picture, Sugar Salem, if they get there, certainly a favorite. Teton, if they get there, would be strong. Sun Valley Community School, Coeur d'Alene Charter from the north. But I don't see any reason why either one of these teams couldn't go over and compete and mix it up a little bit there as well. Let's just continue with girls soccer. We'll stay in 3A. This is the District 6 tournament, Sean. It started on Tuesday. Chalk so far. Sugar Salem, the 1 seed, beats number 4 South Fremont 6-0. Number 2 Teton beats number 3 Firth 5-1. Sets up the win. 2 p.m. at Sugar Salem. It's Teton and the Diggers. Last year, Sugar Salem was undefeated coming into this matchup. Teton knocked them off, stole their spot to state. I'm sure the Diggers will be very motivated to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I would agree that it's just a battle. One team, all you can think of is one good team's not going to be in that bracket. And that's the disappointing part. But, either team, it's going to be tough. Right. I mean, it's going to be tough. I know they had close games. Didn't they split throughout the season?
So Sugar is 17-0 undefeated. Teton is 12-3. Teton's only losses this year came to Marsh Valley 2-1, and then twice to Sugar Salem. Now, both of those matches were lopsided, 9-2 and 5-0. But Teton has beaten Marsh Valley. a team that's already going to state. They have swept American Falls this year, a team that potentially could be going to state. And so for Teton, if they aren't able to come through on this, you feel bad for the Timberwolves. And I guess all I have to say to that is expanded playoffs.
Oh no. One of those guys. How'd that guy get in here? Yeah, it's we can beat the dead horse all we want, but it's hard in these smaller district situations, and that's why you sometimes wish that these two are put together, right? The Marsh Valley and the American Falls into one big combined district. You'd probably get two and maybe a one play-in one out of that, which I don't think would be too bad. I mean, you only feel bad if you're the one that doesn't make it, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. So Sugar, like I said, I kind of like Sugar going into it, but if anyone knows how to spoil a Sugar Slam party, it's Teton.
Right. In soccer, it's a little trickier because there are, 5 teams from District 5 and 4 from District 6 because there is no 2A soccer, right? They play up at 3A, but in all the other sports, it's like, come on, let's get this done. You all play each other anyway. So why don't you just have it be conference? And then, yes, you could get more representation, but Sugar Salem and Teton will play on Thursday for the district championship there. Other bids that have been wrapped up, Sean, from East Idaho on the girls' side. Congratulations to the Highland Rams. They are your district champions yet again from District 5-6 at the Class 5A level. They defeated Madison in the championship on Tuesday, 4-2. And now Madison will have to battle Thunder Ridge for the right to try and get to state via a play-in match. They will play on Thursday at 4 o'clock at Madison. The winner of that will play Owyhee in a state play-in match. That's going to be a tough one against the Storm.
Yeah, that's and when you're in that District 5-6, 5A, that play-in game is always what other side you're coming out of is always hard to make it to state, right? Like you're typically getting that bottom team from the Boise Valley, and usually in soccer, man, it's tough. It's tough. The Boise area 5A soccer girls are tough, so it's not a slam dunk by any means, and you have to get through Thunder Ridge too. So I mean, it's just a tough road, but nice job by Highland to win the districts again and pretty convincingly over Madison.
Yeah, Hawaii's good. They finished tied for third in the District 3 standings this year. They took the number 4 seed into districts, stubbed their toe a couple of times, and now here they are in a play-in match. Hawaii went 12-4-1 this year, so that's a tough order. But good luck to either Madison or Thunder Ridge, whoever gets there, and congratulations to Highland for winning the girls' soccer district championship. Let's wrap up with the 4A. Sean, nothing decided yet. Look at all this craziness that happened last night, Tuesday night, in the High Country Conference, District 6 in Class 4A. Sean, you had, first of all, number 5 Idaho Falls beat number 4 Shelley in a play-in match. So the Tigers is the 5 seed, already riding the wave a little bit. They played number 1 Skyline last night, Emotion Bowl Soccer Edition. Tied 1-1, goes to penalty kicks. Idaho Falls wins 6-5 on PK. So the 5th seeded Tigers playing for the district championship. They will play the 2 seed Hillcrest. Hillcrest played 3 seed Bonneville last night and escaped in overtime 3-2 with the golden goal. So you've got Idaho Falls and Hillcrest playing for the district championship on Thursday night, 7 o'clock at the Idaho Falls Soccer Complex. Winner moves on to state. Loser will have to play the winner of Skyline and Bonneville. That is the 1 and the 3 playing each other in a loser out match Thursday night at 7.
Yeah, it's crazy. And right, if the PKs went 6-5, that means the last person got up there, right, and put it away, put that goal. It's probably tied 5-5, and whoever went up just went and it's always interesting. Sometimes they put kids into kick penalties that don't even play, like the whole game, and that's a whole nother little game in with a game, right? So congratulations to Idaho Falls. That's, I think we talked about this early, that District 6 was going to be crazy, and we predicted some upsets, and sure enough, Idaho Falls is the big upset right here. But still a lot of soccer to be played to make it to state, right? You still got to beat Hillcrest, and then that loser out. I'm sure Skyline is not happy to be on the bottom side of that bracket, and we'll be looking to take some revenge out on another crosstown rival.
Well, Bonneville's not happy either. I mean, let's be clear. I
No,
mean, either way, that's a tough matchup. And it's funny how it was rivalries in both semis, right? Emotion Bowl, Skyline and Idaho Falls in one semi, Civil War, Hillcrest and Bonneville in the other.
Man, yeah. If you paid the price of admission, you got your tickets worth, I guess.
Well, and the thing is, at the Idaho Falls complex, these games happen simultaneously, right? There's two fields there. So you could, I mean, I can only imagine what it was like last night, fans ping-ponging from one field to the other.
Wow.
And the same thing is going to happen Thursday night. They'll play concurrently at 7:00 Thursday night. Should be a lot of fun up there for sure. Okay, District 5, Class 4A. Sean, it is Pocatello and Preston, the top two teams playing for the district championship at Lookout Field on Thursday at 4:00. Pocatello already beat Preston once in this tournament, 3-1. Preston eliminated Century on Tuesday, 3-1. I guess 3-1 seems to be the theme here. We like Pocatello here.
Yeah, the rumor is it's Pocatello is a team that is able to go and maybe challenge a Bishop Kelly or a Sandpoint. That's the kind of caliber team they have this year, and they're still kind of fairly young too. So, Preston has battled them a little bit, but I think it'll be hard for Preston to come away with a win. But you never know. You never know with soccer, right? If they can find a way to keep that a low-scoring game and get to PKs or something, you never know. But this district is also hard because only one goes, and sometimes there's two good teams and only one goes. So, good luck to both teams that start with a P.
Yeah, and in this double elimination tournament, this will be the 5th time that Pocatello and Preston have played this year. They met for the first time on September 19th, Sean. So we're not even a month. 5 times they've played over the last month, which just makes it tough. I mean, you can only beat the same team so many times, and yet Pocatello has done it. This is actually the 4th time they've played. Sorry, I don't want to misspeak, but still 4 times in a month is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked anyone if you got to play someone, 5 times or 10 times, you'd like your odds that you could at least get one, especially in soccer. You can change up what you do, go real defensive and wait for the other team to make a mistake. I know Preston's really good at doing that. That's what they kind of did last night against Century, is kind of just got a little bit of a lead and then stayed back and forced Century in some errors and, got another goal to go ahead there 3-1. But, there's a lot of chess pieces to be played in a game, especially when you've seen, it's no surprise who's going to be playing, right? They've seen each other 4 times. So sometimes your scheme as a coach, or maybe even moving some players differently, or deciding to be offense or defense minded, could be the difference. But I still kind of like the Thunder coming out.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But officially from East Idaho, Marsh Valley and Highland have clinched berths to state in girls soccer. Let's switch over to boys, where the first team to officially clinch a spot to state was Thunder Ridge, Sean, at the 5A District 5 and 6 tournament. Thunder Ridge blanks Highland 3-0 in the district championship Tuesday. So Thunder Ridge, 6th consecutive district title. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, going back to back's impressive, but six times. They've been open 6 years. The doors have been, they've been open six years, the doors of Thunder Ridge, and for 6 years they've won boys district soccer. And that's just a testament to a good program, because, as we looked at other District 6 teams, there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of soccer players in District 6, girls and boys. So congratulations to Thunder Ridge.
Yeah, Coach Logan Murai has done a great job with this Thunder Ridge program. We talked about they tied Highland twice in the regular season, so they get the 3-0 win there. Highland will now have to turn around and play Madison Thursday, 4:00. Winner of that will move on to play Centennial in a state play-in match. Highland and Madison tied twice in the regular season, Sean, and then Highland just barely beat Madison 1-0 in the district tournament opener. Do you have a good lean on how this could go?
Where's the game at? It's at Highland.
It's Highland.
I like Highland at home. Playing at home, because I think if you play at Madison, you're playing on the turf, and I don't know if Highland's playing on the turf or if they're still playing at the soccer field at the Wellness Center. I don't know that, but if they're still playing on grass, I like Highland. But if they're playing at the turf on Iron Horse, then I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me, but that's a good question. I don't know where they've been playing the soccer games, if they've been if they've opened it up on Iron Horse or not yet, and I couldn't find anyone to find out. But that could play a role. It could play a zero role in it too, right? Because here's two teams that have played a few times already, and when it becomes 4:00 tomorrow afternoon, today's Wednesday, and the game's tomorrow Thursday at 4 p.m. It's sometimes those games, it's kind of the corny, who wants it more, who wants to go to state, but those loser out games, are you bummed because you didn't win the championship and kind of having that low, or you're like, hey, it doesn't matter, we're still going to make it to state and get that sweatshirt?
Yeah, I am trying to see if there's any indication on that, but you would think if they were playing at Iron Horse, it'd be at night. They'd play the lights, because that's why you have them. So that leads me to believe it's probably at the Wellness Complex. I'm trying to double check and see real quick here. I'm on the dark web trying to find this out.
I just text a player to find out. We'll see if he gets back to me.
Highland High School Stadium. That could be. I don't know. That's
typically if it's they'll do it later.
Yeah. Well, anyways, will be very interesting matchup for sure. Let's go to 4A, where again, District 6, Class 4A, Sean, pretty wild night of action last night. You had, first of all, the play-in matches. Number 4 Skyline had to rally to beat number 5 Shelley 3-2. And then Hillcrest beat Bonneville 5-1, 3/6. And then you had the semis last night, Sean. Number 1 Blackfoot needs overtime to defeat number 4 Skyline 2-1. And so does Idaho Falls, the 2 seed, over Hillcrest. They played this game at Ravston Stadium, which I think is awesome. Idaho Falls beats Hillcrest 1-0 in overtime. So both Blackfoot and Idaho Falls survived, the top 2 seeds. It took them overtime to do it. They'll meet in the district championship at Blackfoot. That'll be on Thursday at 4:00. And then you have on Thursday, Skyline and Hillcrest 3 and 4 at the Idaho Falls Soccer Complex. They'll play that at 5:00. Before that, girls double dip at 7:00. So you got a lot of action at the Idaho Falls Complex starting Thursday.
Yeah, what a great nice thing to have a facility like that to house all those games. So that will be really exciting. I think that Skyline Hillcrest is going to be a really, really competitive game, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out of that on top. And then I kind of like Blackfoot as the district champions. But again, Idaho Falls is a team that was, I was talking to some soccer people. They're saying Idaho Falls is kind of a team, they're really good, but they're not, maybe getting the appeal that teams should be getting that are really good. So I lean a little bit towards Blackfoot, but I mean, watch out for Idaho Falls, maybe go ahead and winning this thing, or coming back and winning it in the bottom half of that bracket.
Yeah, Idaho Falls consistently has been one of the most consistent programs in boys soccer. They don't really ever seem to get their due. Skyline and Hillcrest this year, Hillcrest won the first matchup 2-1, and then they tied in the rematch 3-3. Could be wide open.
Could be PKs. PKs coming.
And every coach loves that. So that's what's going on in District 6. In District 5, Sean, all chalk. Century and Pocatello, 1 versus 2. Thursday, 4:00 at Century. Nothing has been super close in this tournament yet. I think. You tell me. Pocatello beat Preston 2-1. Century beat Pocatello the first time 1-0. Pocatello blew it open against Preston on Tuesday 5-0. But I feel like Century is still the team that's in control of this.
Yeah, during the regular season, Century, beat Pocatello, I think 5-0 and then 6-0. And then it was a lot closer game Thursday, and I was talking to the head coach, Jamshi Rumiani of Century. Now, interesting story about Rumiani is he was the first girls coach at Century for I can't remember how long, and then just came back to coach boys at Century just last year. So he's been a kind of a icon as far as Century soccer for many years. And he also retired from teaching, but is back teaching at school because they needed math teachers. And he teaches math, and he was my math teacher in junior high.
Wow.
Yeah. Great guy. Great to talk to. And he just said Pocatello went real defensive and said, hey, we're going to stack everyone back in the box. Good luck. And they said they missed a couple opportunities, so that score could have been higher. But at the end of the day, if you win, you win. No one's going to care how many goals. So, yeah, it should be a good game. I know both teams are ready, and it's always difficult. The last few years, it's been Century Pokey, Pocatello in that championship. Last year was a phenomenal game at Irving Junior High. Pocatello was playing their home games there last year, and it came down to like a last second goal. And man, it was a great atmosphere. It was one of the best atmospheres of a soccer game I've been to, probably the most fans I'd ever seen. So I wouldn't expect anything less tomorrow at Century.
And that was at Lookout Field last year, right?
No, the boys played at Irving.
Oh, at Irving. Okay.
Yep, I was at that game. I attended.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. We'll see how it all shakes out, but at least I do like Century there. 3A, Sean. We've got the district championship today. As we're recording this, it's probably just kicked off, actually. American Falls, the number 1 seed, they are playing Aberdeen, the 3 seed. Old familiar friends, Aberdeen and American Falls. Aberdeen took out Marsh Valley, the 2 seed, in the loser out game 3-2 on Monday. So this tournament has been off by a day. They were supposed to play on Saturday and Tuesday, and instead it because of rain, got pushed to Monday and Wednesday. That says Tuesday. That should actually be Wednesday, October 11th. But American Falls beat Aberdeen in the semis only 1-0, and there's no backdoor here. There is one district champion, one spot to state, and that's it. Now Aberdeen would have to beat American Falls twice, which would be hard, but
probably not going to happen. But I mean, nice job by Aberdeen. I think we talked about that Marsh Valley Aberdeen matchup could go either way. We kind of throw the seeding out, right? Marsh Valley is the 2nd seed, Aberdeen's the 3rd. And we talked about it before, is these two teams were really close, and you could kind of throw that out the door. And kind of what happened is we have Aberdeen taking on American Falls.
Yeah, be interesting for sure. Okay, and then District 6. I'll check here, Sean. Sugar Salem Teton. Yeah, stop me if you've heard this before. Teton beats Firth 2-3, 3-1. Sugar Salem beats South Fremont 12-1. The 1-4. Only one spot available to state from this bracket as well. They will play Thursday at Sugar Salem at 4:00.
Yeah, I think you got to like Sugar Salem right here, but it's kind of been the trend of the last few years as you have these district championships between Sugar Salem and Teton. And I mean, it's nothing's for sure, but you got to feel like Sugar Salem's got a pretty good chance to come out of this one.
Now, this is fascinating, Sean. When we came on last week and did the Prepcast,
they hadn't played, right?
They hadn't played, and Sugar had won the first matchup of the regular season 7-0. Well, Teton came back and won that rematch 3-0. So I don't know. Teton comes in with a little momentum here. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and it seems like soccer is kind of like that way. You get your first game, make adjustments, second game. So maybe it's who's going to make the right adjustments for this third game and also that trip to state. So I always like teams that have good senior leadership to kind of be in the driver's seat of games like this.
Regardless, Sugar 15-1-1, Teton 14-2. Somebody really good is going to be sitting at home in expanded playoffs. Ooh, really got something in my throat today. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, it's just tough when you have two good teams, right? I mean, I guess if all the other teams were not good and one was, then no one would have any complaints. But I mean, if you're playing good teams in your district tournament, it's just setting you up to play well at state regardless, right? So that's the benefit of having good teams in your district.
Yeah, it's going to be a fierce competition on Thursday in Sugar for sure. All right, let's check in on what happened in football last week, Sean. Quickly, we'll kind of go through the highlights. I feel like we got to start with Highland and Rigby at the very top of the 5A ranks. Second year in a row, Highland pulls one out of the fire late. Last year, you and I were on the call for it, right? That epic 21-point comeback by Highland in the fourth quarter. This year wasn't quite as crazy, but the game-winning touchdown comes with just 36 seconds to play on a trick play. Ridge Barella, a little wide receiver pass, hits Jackson Riddle for a 35-yard touchdown, and Highland wins 22-19 over Rigby.
Yeah, and it was essentially the same play they ran last year. It was a little different, but same result. It was Ridge Barrera throwing the ball, and yeah, I like it. It was a hard game for me to kind of pick who was going to win. To be honest with you, I've been so high on Highland, but I don't know. I felt like Rigby may come into this game and put it away. But you know what? I just can't look past Highland right now. When Jackson Riddle is healthy, they're if they're not the best team in the state, he got injured against Meridian and only played the first half, and a lot of people feel if he was able to play the rest of that game, that result's a lot different. And after watching that Rigby game, I couldn't agree with him more. So, but they could see each other again.
I am telling you right now, I've kind of not been on the Madison train at all this year, right? I think they're being propped up by a weaker schedule, and it's Highland and Rigby, man. To me, they're taking those two. I would love to be wrong. Okay, Madison's got a chance here. They finished with Highland and Rigby. I would love to be wrong, but to me, it's Highland and Rigby. And interesting, Sean, I didn't even see if you had an opinion on this before we hopped on to record, so I'm going to get it in real time.
All right.
Gino Mariani's not coaching at Madison anymore either.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. They decide to go a different direction, I guess is what I heard, and he's no longer with the team. So,
Interesting.
We couldn't get. You can't say he doesn't know how to coach, right? He obviously knows how to coach. He knows what he's doing, and sometimes things don't work out, and I'm sure Madison would love have won all the games they played, but that's not the case. And I think Madison's always been a team. Well, not always, but the last few years, they've got athletes. They've got players that can go and do things. Just they haven't been able to put all those pieces together, and turnovers in the red zone, I think, has just killed them in a lot of these games this year and last year. And is that the coach? Is that the players? I don't know. That's for someone else to decide.
Yeah, for sure. I just thought it was interesting. Okay, let's go to 4A, where honestly the most exciting game, we had on IdahoSports.com, Skyline beat Blackfoot 40-19. It was tied 19-19 like early in the fourth quarter, and then Skyline kind of exploded. Hillcrest beat Bonneville. Shelley beats Idaho Falls on a touchdown late, 28-21. Shelley's still undefeated in the league. They finished with Hillcrest and Skyline. They could win the conference.
Yeah, I mean, Shelley's got to be the team in East Idaho no one was talking about at the start of the year, on no one's radar. And I think essentially that game, Shelley beating Idaho Falls, pretty much takes Idaho Falls out of the playoffs, right? Or still
I
close.
I am, as we are recording this,
Oh,
I
you're
am in the
doing your
process of writing the bracketology update for this week. I haven't looked yet, to be honest, to tell you, but check out the bracketology article. By the time you're listening to this, it's probably going to be up on the site, so you can just check it out and read if Idaho Falls is in. A team that was in last week was Preston. They had a tight one against Century, Sean. This was a fun game, 22-19, the final. Preston,
everything.
Preston jumps ahead 14-0. Carter Perry finds Coulter Moffitt for a touchdown, and then Carson Winder scores on a touchdown run. But then over the course of 8 minutes in the third quarter, Century scores 3 times. Carter Ward picks off a pass from Perry and returns it for a pick 6. And then not once but twice, Deegan Crabtree finds Bentley Gunter. And so all of a sudden you blinked and Century was leading 19-14. But with 3:56 to go in the fourth quarter, Winder scores from 8 yards out. Preston hangs on to win 22-19.
Yeah, it had everything. It had blocked field goals, it had blocked punts. It was a good game for Century, right? It's been a struggle all year, and they had opportunities to win. So talking to their coaches, they're happy. And the Preston coaches said at the start of the game, they were more worried about what they would do, and and the turnovers kind of hurt them. But leads into a pretty interesting game this week against the Pocatello Thunder, right? A team that kind of have some question marks after a bye week.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw Pocatello, they barely escaped with a win over Shelley, and they made a flurry of offensive personnel changes at halftime. So I don't know. We'll see. You would think Pokey would still be the favorite there, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the Preston team's been interesting too, right? They last second touchdown win over Burley. On paper, I kind of thought it might be a very good close game against Century. Ends up being a close game. So, I kind of feel like it's what Preston team shows up at Lookout this Friday.
I think that's just more about Century than it does Preston personally.
Yeah.
We've said this pretty universally. It doesn't matter the sport. Century's coaches seem to get the absolute most out of their athletes. Because Century just doesn't have the pool of athletes that Pocatello does or Highland does. And the coaches at Century, whether it's volleyball or basketball or football or track even or tennis, they seem to pretty universally and pretty consistently get the absolute most. And they will take a C+ athlete and turn that athlete into a B or even a B+ and win on the margins. And it doesn't always show up in the wins and losses, but I'm always very impressed by what Century does.
Yeah, they've done a good job. I was actually watching some of the film today of that game, and Preston's just way bigger too. Like if you just look at the size, what they're able to do and scheme up just to be competitive on a nightly basis is pretty impressive in its own self. So, good job for them. And yeah.
Definitely. There really wasn't any other exciting games to talk about from the past week in East Idaho. And in terms of teams on the playoff bubble, it's all pretty much the same. We're looking ahead to Sugar Salem and Teton. They'll play next week to decide that conference. Snake River and American Falls, we think, will probably battle for that league title. Snake River did beat Marsh Valley last week. Bear Lake beat Malad, which was good for the Bears. Westside lost to Declo by 1 at the very end. That was a pretty exciting game. But it's kind of the same old. The further down we get right now, it seems like a lot of the excitement is up at the higher levels, the 5A, 4A. So,
yep. And again, like you talked about in the bracketology, about only so many teams can come out of that 2A conference. So that will be interesting too, kind of going on. That'll be more exciting towards the end, right?
I think it's done and dusted.
Oh, okay.
I think Malad had a chance, but they just lost to Bear Lake. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Okay. Yep. That's it.
I think Malad at this point, I'm trying to remember if they still play West Side or not. That would be their only hope.
Okay.
is to beat West Side. Yeah, Malad's 1-2 in conference play, and they do play West Side next week. So that's their path. Go beat West Side.
Kind of have to give a shout out to North Fremont, right? North Fremont's been doing well too, I think, at that 2A level, and kind of under the radar a little bit, I would say, as far as what teams have typically been, spotlighted in that 2A. But North Fremont with a big win over Aberdeen, 48-12, and they're kind of like a Grace. Like, you don't really hear much from North Fremont, right? And then they're doing really well. So watch out for North Fremont.
Yes, North Fremont rushed for over 600 yards as a team, I believe, in that victory. They've got a flurry of backs, Carson Bone and Jacob Hill, and Jed Hill is the quarterback, and their brothers. And North Fremont's a fun team. I've been banging the drum for the Huskies all year long. And then Aberdeen, to me, is interesting because Aberdeen has been playing, Sean, pretty much all year without their starting quarterback, Gage Driscoll. And I think he's getting closer to coming back. But they've been going with Lupe Ortiz, basically, who's just a young sophomore, good athlete, runs the ball well. But, if Gage Driscoll can come back, and Aberdeen at this point is, I think, pretty comfortably into the playoffs, they could be a real wild card when the 2A postseason begins. But they have to have him back, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Aberdeen, I just like Aberdeen is just kind of, just really built, right? I think last year was a great year for them, and they're still building and doing a good job. And that's what you like to see from teams like that, is just keep that building process moving on the upward trend.
Yeah, Braden Driscoll in his second year coaching the Aberdeen football team has done a good job, but I just think in their current incarnation, they just don't have enough juice to really compete with those upper end teams like a North Fremont. And we'll find out. They play Bear Lake and West Side to wrap up the season here, so we're going to find out what Aberdeen's all about here pretty darn quick. Okay, this week on IdahoSports.com, Sean, we have got a bevy of football games for East Idaho fans starting on Thursday night, Sean. A little Thursday night football. Marsh Valley at South Fremont. Now, both of these teams are a distant third in their respective conferences, but these two teams are fighting for an at-large playoff spot because 11 of 19 teams in Class 3A make it. And so this is kind of a de facto playoff game if you want to think of it in those terms.
Like a play-in, right? Basically,
Yeah.
Who wins this has really got the chance to get in. So that'll be a very, very competitive game on a Thursday.
Yeah, that'll be Thursday night from South Fremont. And then Friday, we've got an afternoon game. You talked about, hey, what's going on with Grace? Nobody ever seems to know. You're going to know when you tune in to watch Grace play Kendrick on IdahoSports.com. They're meeting in Homedale for a neutral site game for a 3:00 kickoff on Friday afternoon. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what happens. I guess I don't want to lean anyway, but both really, really good teams. It should be a good game, right? I just feel like it's just going to be a really good game.
And then in the 7:00 window Friday night, hey, you just mentioned North Fremont. We never really seem to know what's going on with them. You'll have a chance to tune in and watch North Fremont play Firth Friday night, 7:00. We will also have Preston and Pocatello. That's the game you're going to be at, Sean, and Highland and Madison. And Madison coming. We thought it was going to be kind of the Gino reunion with Gino Mariani, but he's not there anymore. So
maybe that's why they didn't want to have him come down there. I don't know. I'm sure it had nothing to do with that, but
no,
it seems very auspicious. But yeah, it would have been neat. I think I don't think there would have been any bad feelings. I think people would have been pretty excited, but unfortunately that won't be the case. And I think it's a big game for Madison. Highland will just have to take care of business as they do for the last 20 years. But again, I really like Highland, but I just, man.
Yeah, it's tough. Okay, so 5 different games Thursday and Friday to whet your appetite, all part of East Idaho Game Night or Gate City Game Night right here on IdahoSports.com. All right, thanks for tuning into the East Idaho Prepcast, everybody. For Sean Kane, I'm Brandon Baney, and we will see you next time on IdahoSports.com.